Look, someday I'm going to get that to play automatically so you don't see me go.
You're killing it. You are
Right
killing it. And you are in Beverly Hills. Everybody
I
needs to know.
am. I think it's beautiful. This is as pretty as it was going to get behind me because it's pretty gloomy today. But
That is
I'm
amazing.
out here doing the work. It's so fun.
That is great. That's right.
Yes.
So what you're filming a movie? Is that what I heard?
We're trying. No, wouldn't that be awesome?
That
Just
would
like
be awesome. That would be
Sammy
so
with blue
cool.
hair popping into
Right,
whatever.
yeah, totally. Yeah.
we're out here.
Your makeup. Yeah.
No,
great.
I am out here helping an organization that we work with called Project Camp. It is a trauma-informed day camp pop-up organization for post-natural disasters. So, for example, we had, I think, about 5 camps running at once at one point during like the LA fires, coming in, and they helped with Hurricane Helene. They were actually in Iowa a couple years ago after tornadoes. So it's actually a team retreat out here that I'm hanging out at and sort of teaching them all the things that we do. So it's super fun. I love it so much.
That's so cool.
Shout out Project Camp. We love what they do. They're all over the nation too, right? Like, so we're meeting here in LA, but they're all over the place. So I will, I'll make sure to post, maybe at the end, I'll make sure I've got like a QR code or two to like show people how to find them. So
yeah,
I
absolutely.
love this organization and I love that we work with them. So.
And thanks to Megan and thanks Shannon. It is so amazing to have people just like show up and say that they're in. So yeah, that makes us so happy. So welcome everybody. Really glad to have everybody here. And okay, today is amazing. I mean, it's just amazing in general, but Dan Kershaw is going to be coming on to show us all the things, right? I feel like he's the Gemini power user.
Yeah,
we should have a Gemini off between him and Jennifer Owen sometimes. That would be incredible.
Well, we need it, yes, because we need to get Jennifer on in a couple weeks anyway. Yeah. I want her to show us. You guys can't see it.
Yes, that's pretty good. Awesome. That's great. Okay. Today we're talking about. Oh, go ahead.
Really quickly, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, I'm Sami Zoss. This is Tim Lockie. We're both here with the Human Stack, making tech more human for nonprofits. Yeah, I wanted to make sure people knew who we were and why.
Thank you. Yes. No, that is such a good idea. It's like it's kind of basic and stuff that I forget. So yes, we are very, very happy that you joined us. And yeah, I'm calling in from Montana. Sami is calling in from Beverly Hills, which
basically
is
Hollywood
an upgrade from South Dakota. I just have to say that.
I don't know. Probably.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think I'm legally obligated to say not at all.
Okay, so before we get into today's main topics, I want to just give a shout out to the last day. So this was yesterday and today, free Donor Perfect. I was on yesterday. Mallory and the other speaker lineup is just absolutely killer. If you have not signed up, do it. Go hop over there. It is not about how to use Donor Perfect, although that would be very helpful. It is really, they think in such a different way. They had me come on and talk about AI, but not how to use AI. They had me talk about preserving your agency with AI, which is something I'm so passionate about. And I feel like not that many people want that content. So I'm really happy with that. Julia was on last week talking about this. So if you haven't signed up, please do it. Free. Go catch that. If you sign up, I think you get recordings. So hop in for Donor Perfect. And thank you, Donor Perfect. We're really happy to partner with you. Really great to be a speaker for you. Please invite me next year. Just going to put a plug in. All right.
For sure. All right. So today we are Tim's talked about this a little bit. Today we're going to learn about Google's deep research. And I think we call this research Re-Gemini-ed. And definitely we could not do any sort of deep research.
I did not. Okay, I'm sorry. I did not understand what we were calling it. So can you do the name one more time there?
Research Re-Gemini-ed.
Oh, okay. I get it now.
Fine.
No, I get it now. It's good. It's
good. Trying to make these clever because
I am all here for the clever. Thank you. I just I'm not clever.
Sort of here for the clever is what I'm hearing.
I can't show up for the clever, but I'm here for it. If that makes sense.
All right, it's all right. I think I'm stealing your thunder with introing this anyway, so it's fine. Dan Kershaw is definitely the number one person we would go to if we had any questions, deep research, whether it's in Google or a different infrastructure right now, frankly. I mean, actually, Dan, I'm really excited, and we'll have to nerd out about this later, but Claude from Anthropic just released deep research capabilities. And so I'm so intrigued to see if Dan's played with that and what he's thinking. So um, I've got a nice little intro for Dan. It's his favorite part. So I wanted to tell everybody about who Dan Kershaw is. He's the executive director of Furniture Bank in Canada. He's joined us before. He came on when Tim last second couldn't join. And so I was like, hey, Dan, help me out. And he was like, why don't I just come hang out with you on stream? So thank you so much, Dan, for always just being willing to like play and be there for Tim and I. It makes it so much fun. Dan has definitely been at the forefront of implementing AI solutions in the nonprofit sector, sort of since it came. But recently completing an impressive 126 experiments in 30 days project, exploring practical applications of tools like deep research. Under his leadership, Furniture Bank has repurposed over 400,000 items of furniture heading for landfill into homes for over 21,000 families in the greater Toronto area. So, I mean, talk about someone really on the ground doing the work. You know, his approach really has helped Furniture Bank enhance their operations, fundraising efforts, and like that strategic planning piece through thoughtful AI integration. What I love about Dan is he still keeps that human first mentality and that human first approach. So it isn't, he's not outsourcing, no kidding. He's not outsourcing the work that needs to be done by the human. He's outsourcing the work that needs to be done by sort of like the minutia, right? And we're gonna see it today. I mean, Dan gave us like this teeny tiny little preview right before we hopped on, and I think Tim and I both had a few expletives.
Yeah. Right.
What is going on? So
Yeah.
I'm not going to belabor it anymore. If you all could, shout out in the comments, raise your hand, let us know if Dan Kershaw has inspired you, certainly, but give him a warm welcome. Dan, so nice to have you here.
Oh, it's great to be able to talk about deep research. This is one of these effectively free superpowers that we all get.
I would love to point out that not 5 seconds into the stream, he whipped out in a boat.
Yes.
Yes. I'm speaking to you from Halifax on the east coast of Canada.
Some real Canada right there. I love it so much. Thank you so much for always being so willing to jump in and mess around with Tim and I. Truly,
it's so important. If it's only, I love Donor Perfect too, but if it's only the software platform saying, trust us, use AI, Salesforce, Microsoft, nobody's going to use it. We're all too busy and we don't have the risk tolerance to experiment. We're using it at Furniture Bank because it can make more impact, but we need examples, all of us using it, for us all to start using it.
Absolutely. I would like to point out that you've gotten multiple compliments already on your glasses.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm actually just pulling Jessica Hauser into the Slack or into the comments on that, because it is always a glasses off between Dan and Jessica for coolest glasses. So
I've got a little variation in here. I've got
like you and I are not like, we're not in their league.
Dan
we
has
just got to know our place.
Whatever. Dan's complimented me before. Anyway, Tim, I know you wanted to tell us a little bit about one other project that you're working on before we really hop into what Dan's got for us today.
Oh, yes.
You take it away there.
Okay, I've got to find the tab that I'm showing with this. That is a tab, right? That is not a
it is. It is. Yep.
Okay, yeah, cool. Okay. All right, so I am at the Feedback Labs.
We'll figure it out someday.
I am at the Feedback Labs. No, they came to me. For once, the conference came to Bozeman, Montana. So Feedback Labs is here today, tomorrow, Friday. I'm speaking twice. Today is a session with Mark Maxmeister from Giving Tuesday. Mark is super cool. I have been loving chatting with him for over a year now. We got to have dinner together for the first time last night, and then go for a walk up on Pete's Hill, which is an amazing part of Bozeman. All that to say, it is so amazing to have people in Bozeman. Feedback Labs, they just care about getting and using feedback. A lot of people care about getting feedback, and then it just kind of bottlenecks and not much happens with it. And especially, I just hate to say this, but I think it's true. Program feedback is especially bad at this. I think that the sector is sometimes more responsive to donor feedback than participant feedback. So Feedback Labs just thinks about that problem all the time. Since we're doing a session on AI and feedback, I created the worst feedback form of all time, and we're going to walk through it really quickly. It's just a couple pages here. But first off, it is the attendee dissatisfaction survey. What was your favorite session at Feedback Labs? We only gave them Mark and Tim talk about AI for an hour, and then the email address. So that was kind of fun. Then on the next page, and this was made by Claude. I just had Claude code this out for me really quick. Next page, organization name and your role. Nothing much there. Then the next page, home address, social security number, bank routing number, most frequently used password. This, by the way, is not real. And even if you put your information into it, it would go nowhere. So there's no danger.
For what it is worth, do not ever.
No, Claude kept telling me, no, we're not doing this, and then putting warnings everywhere. So
which is a great thing to point out, Tim. Like, how awesome is it that, because Claude is by far and wide the one that is most known for being ethically driven first, which is why some of their rollouts of some of these newer features tends to be a little bit delayed from what we would expect for how fast everything's moving. But it is because they are so adamant about an ethical framework first. So I'm shocked that you actually even were able to like get around.
Yeah, no, I had to explain the context, and I was like, oh, this is a joke and you're using it to show people why it's good. We can handle that. So anyway, it is easy to trick. So email addresses of your immediate family members. I thought that was hilarious. All the social medias, and then current employee IT security policies. That was good. Okay, this one is the coup de grace though. Home security system access code. What time of day is your house typically unattended? Where do you keep your valuables and your Netflix password? And then this disclaimer, which is too small to read, is absolutely amazing. So
by completing the survey, you agree to receive unlimited marketing communications. Allow us to share your information with our 847 partner organizations. Permit background checks on you and your family members. Waive all privacy rights in perpetuity. Acknowledge that we may use your likeness for promotional purposes, and agree to binding arbitration in the Cayman Islands for any dispute.
Oh my gosh, I didn't see that.
Gosh dang it.
847 privacy policy.
Expires in 3 minutes. Incomplete forms may result in conference ban. All forms will be stored in servers in countries with minimal data protection.
So if you cannot submit this, I just want to say one more time, this is absolutely not real, but was very fun to make.
But it sure sounds like a funder application.
Dang. Dan with the zinger.
Snap. Oh, Dan is not playing around today. I wish there were not so much irony in that. So so there we go. That's that is the second announcement. Is if you're in Bozeman, you haven't signed up for Feedback Labs, hop over. It's great. We'd love to see you there.
There's I don't know how. I took over the screen there. There's the QR code if you guys want to scan it and join the conference.
And if you can't make it to Bozeman today, it's kind of last minute, do go sign up for their stuff and learn more about them. I think what they're doing is really important. I'm just going to say one last thing about this. The future of AI will depend on feedback from humans.
Yes.
And that is like these organizations are starting to think about that really well. So, and if you're not following Mark Maxmeister, go follow that guy. It was really fun, really interesting.
I love it. All right. Dan Kershaw.
Welcome to
we now pass the baton to you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Most people have not actually heard of the term deep research, let alone even use it. And I found it early on. We've been using AI at Furniture Bank since 2022. And
that's crazy.
I know.
For context, I spent most of my working career in the startup world. So it was all like, what would a for-profit do? What would a startup do? And when we saw AI, it was just, using the agency we all have, being curious, And every time it was like poking at the features to figure out. And then this thing called deep research came on. We've all spent our lives, and I'm sure somebody's calculated it, chasing blue underlines for that magic answer. Once you actually start using deep research, you'll never go back. And you'll see when I mean this is the new normal. I'm 11 years young into this charitable nonprofit sector, and I'm constantly bewildered at how we consider the way we're meant to do things. Deep research is probably the most powerful tool, maybe next to Notebook LM, that's effectively free if you are in Google Workspace. In theory, I can advance. So
this is like having a research assistant at your beck and call.
One that will listen to you.
Yeah, sorry.
Now, remember, most of us have engaged with a graduate student or a co-op student, and they're super keen. They're like, yes, I will go do research for you. And you are like busy meeting, sure, I'm taking them on, and you'll give them a task and they'll go away. And a week later, they'll come back and they'll give you something and you'll be, OMG, what is this slop? But we're literally in a moment where within minutes, you can be hyper specific. Like working with me can be challenging. I'm very precise on what I want. And not everybody understands that I like bullets. I don't like long-winded words. And so traditionally over the last 11 years, I've tried to use researchers. We deal with a type of poverty that doesn't have a lot of academic rigor. It has lots of stories. It has lots of evidence. We also interface with landfills and trying to have, hey, researcher, please collide these two social and environmental issues and come up with a solution. I've never succeeded doing that. 11 years. Deep research, nailed it. And not just once. And when I got my 6 roles in deep research on ChatGPT, I'm like, I'm spending the $200 to be able to like have unlimited for a month. And then I got into Gemini and all these things. So this is super, super important for all of us to do, because much of what we want, rather than I need to wait or have a meeting, it's literally what do you need for your organization? If you're a fundraiser, a board member, strategy, doesn't matter your function. We all have problems we need help researching, and you can get it quickly.
I just want to point out, I know we've said it a little bit, but I really want to clarify, and this is something Tim and I really try to articulate in these, is that what Dan's saying is at one point, and I joined Dan on this month of like, we paid for ChatGPT Plus or like whatever the big version is for like $200 that month just to like test this feature out.
That's like $1 zillion in Canada. It's
I always forget you're in a different country. It's like $1 zillion in Canada. God, I love that. But what
we don't actually love that, by the way. We're not happy about that.
No, but it's so funny when he says things like that. I'm like, oh shoot, yeah, you're right. But what he's actually clarifying there is that like once we realized how good Google's version of this was and how it came with Google Workspace, easy, done. $200 a month saved for a tool that is still very useful. So Dan's showing you the usefulness, but mind you, like it was almost, we discovered it in this sort of like expensive environment. And then we realized like, oh, as a nonprofit environment, like this is accessible for us. Yeah. So I just wanted to call that out, Dan, because that's one of the things we're really trying to do is show people the accessibility of these tools.
I'm like, last week we celebrated escaping our Microsoft stack. Like totally different topic for another week, but Google brings such a mix of tools and costs that as in our sector, we can afford. It's easy to use, easy to train, easy to share. So my point on this slide is just, I emphasized very keen in your, which when you use deep research or any AI bot, it is so motivated to get you a great answer. So if you are not precise on what you want, you're going to get back. So the same problem with, I've used ChatGPT, it didn't work for me because you just put in write me a poem. The same problem can occur in deep research. And I'll show you how detailed you can get. In theory, these slides are advancing. And an important thing, there's no point in going back. If you used to hire researchers, you're never going to hire them again because you can do in minutes for free what traditionally you'd have to find budget. And the conversations I had with Tim and Sami is, if we were all who has money for a researcher, who has money for all of these things? I've yet to meet a cash flush, let's do whatever we want nonprofit. We're all bootstrapping.
Yeah.
So, this is not maybe I'll start to use it. This is literally what businesses are using. If you hear the conversations about job loss, a lot of it is consulting firms who don't need to, who are leveraging these things. So start using it because you're going to love it. It can do a whole bunch of things. It can not just go and be a researcher. It can stitch things together. It can save time. It can collide ideas. Like for Furniture Bank, it's like, we make sure kids don't sleep on floors. Funders ask us to prove why that's important. It's our sector. Companies destroy 15 million tons of furniture and home goods every year. I have to prove why that's a bad thing. And now I can collide them just by interacting with my deep research. You can use it for everything. I've used, we'll get into what we've used it. So it's far more beyond just a better search. Think of it as the very best researcher who will take exactly what you need and adapt it to the uses. And I'll show you some of the things.
Can I just frame that for a second? I've got
please.
2 things to say really quickly about that. One is, we're all used to search. This is now answer. And I really mean it that way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
I'd agree.
Even just prompting has mostly been helping you search through or generating stuff. This is actually answering questions.
All of us take a step back. Do we really want to search for things? No. We want the answer to whatever we're looking for, be it in our personal or professional lives. So
there's one other thing I want to say about this, which is that the most important competency with AI, and this is our first conversation, Dan, is curiosity.
Yes.
And so if you're wondering, should I use this, stop asking that question and start asking, what am I curious about?
Yeah.
And if you're curious about something, go to Gemini and ask it in deep research.
And the hack in Gemini is you can actually just go to Gemini to say, I'm about to use deep research. Can you help me come up with some prompts that really showcase? And we're going to do that and we're going to do that in this.
Yep.
So I wrote this slide, and this was just before Anthropic dropped its deep research. But more or less all the platforms are, they've at least all agreed on one product name, deep research.
Finally.
It's the only part of this product they've all agreed on. It's outrageous.
Yeah. So I'm sure Grok has one. I'm sure. So whatever your favorite AI engines, they've got their own version of deep research. I started with Perplexity as a product. It has its own. I have my ChatGPT, tried that, and on Gemini. And I have to say, the last 35 days, I'm just using Gemini now. In terms of, because for me, it's personal productivity. We don't have time to just even find it's ergonomics. It's all that stuff. So if you do have workspace, you can go and get it right away. Now, you've heard this, I don't know if this is funny or not, but curiosity killed the cat. But it was because until, once it found research mode, it didn't need to die researching. None of us on this live stream probably love researching. Otherwise, we'd be researchers in a library right now. So this is, I did 126 experiments. Yes, I counted, not with AI. And in 30 days, I did all sorts of things. Some of them were research on the charitable mission. Some of them are marketing communications. We're like, the board said, what's the total cost of ownership of moving from Microsoft to Google, and what will it cost, and da-da-da. So I asked, and I have this beautiful 25-page reference sourced. See, I said do it. Here's the research that proves it.
I've got to say this. Tech consultants like myself cost as much as lawyers.
Yeah.
And we would charge like 10 to 20 hours for this, right? To just put together this kind of thing.
Correct.
Boom.
And so
it's done.
books that you need, like,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh,
the
it's
consulting
amazing.
sector, ad agencies, we're looking at, we have 2 main websites. We're looking at moving one to here, one to there. And we just sort of unpack that as a deep research, because it can go out and look at the web. And if you're in Gemini, it actually has your knowledge base. It's aware of who you are. And it can come back with essentially a well-researched, structured first draft. And personal things. I just have 2 bullets here: travel and wedding logistics. I did things like, my 80-year-old mother-in-law thinks she's going to China to hike the Great Wall of China. My wife and I are like, no way are you going to be able to do 7 days of walking over 10 days. So I asked Deep Research and I got a 50-page essay, day by day, hour by hour, comparing all the health issues. And my friend, because they all know I'm AI in my coffee shop, it's like, AI challenge of the day. I want to hop on a plane June this, go to Paris, come back, did it. 30-page. Again, take your curiosity. We all have it today. Go try it out.
Yep.
But this is a Gemini specific, at least today. When you use Gemini's deep research, they don't stop there. What they've done is they've woven it into their programming stack. And just out of the box, none of this requires any coding, is you can take that deep research and turn it into useful things. And that the 3 question marks, still gives you room to say, what do I want to turn it into? So
I feel like people might not know what you're saying on that. Can I just summarize really quickly?
Yes, sure.
What that means is that you do a big deep research. They're going to give you a 30 to 50-page document on what you were asking for. And then they're going to say, do you want us to create a web app for you based on this? A survey based on this? Do you want us to create an interactive infographic that people can interact with on your website for this? They'll just ask you that.
And we're going to go look at some of them, because it's
cool.
To do a live demo is come back in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Won't work. So what I've done is I went to Gemini and asked that I was going to be on this show, and I wanted to give some prompts that all of us could use. So I'm hoping Sami's going to post these or something.
Sure.
But
I like that he knows Tim's not going to post them.
No, Tim is not that guy.
I can't tell if you mean I am or I'm not going to post them now. I'm confused.
There's no chance any of us expected you to.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And in terms of, so I'll run through these, and then I'm gonna share just one example of what Google Gemini looks like when we do all these things. But you can see these prompts, like they are detailed, and you can make them as detailed as you want them or need them. So funder alignment analysis. We have a kids sleep program where we're ensuring kids get full beds and things. And I said, go find foundations that would be aligned, and it did. Landscape analysis of a new program. We have an idea to do something. Go do this. Here's a prompt. Try it. It'll work for all of our organizations. These AI images are also just complimentarily included as part of Google Gemini in slides.
I love that it's like the words are there, but also like philanthropic sector.
Sometimes it's the spelling right.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's coming along.
Like if you don't pay attention, you don't realize like it's not quite there yet.
Yeah.
But sometimes it does.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And if you give it a better, like you said, Dan, specificity is going to be key there.
Oh no, the spelling, it's always getting it wrong. It's not.
Well, I was trying to give you a little shout out there.
Oh, thanks.
Never mind.
Emerging trends. Strategic implications. Like there are things affecting all of us in our organizations. It'll go, the strategic consultant that will charge your organization $30,000. You never need them again.
Gosh.
You can do your pest analysis, your SWOT analysis, your pick your analysis, your business model changes. It all can be done for you. Agency, curiosity. Impact measurement, every funder wants to turn it into a logic model, turn it into a theory of change. Who has time for that? AI is already trained on all of these things. It can go out and get the best practices, bring them back to you, synthesize it the way you need it to, and we can get on with the impact work we really have to do. I'm going to flip over after this. So there's good and there's bad. Deep research, when you read it, it sounds really, really good. Now, I've done and audited my stuff. And generally, it is really good. But if you're going to use it to publish it, the moment you hit publish, it's your work. It's not AI's work. So depending on how you use deep research, you have to be mindful of what type of vetting. So historically, I was actually waiting for researchers to go do things. Now I'm getting the research back and I'm walking through the citations and sources. And if I don't like a source, I'll ask it to take it out and it'll re-roll that research. It uses the internet, so that has its own problems. If you're concerned about AI impacting, hallucinating, that's where I use Notebook LM, where I'm like, you only get this and you can only be creative within these boundaries. And it can take a lot of time to vet, which AI is meant to save us time. In around the topic of research, I still think it does. I'm going to flip over and I hope this works.
Yeah. And
while you're doing that, go ahead, Sami.
I was just going to say, I think it's really funny that I've specifically asked Dan this a lot, like the vetting time that it takes to allow for, because I'm like, I love deep research, but I don't have the time to like go through and like verify it. So I've actually not used it as much because I'm not confident with my ability to verify what I'm looking at. So I'm really grateful that you pointed that out, Dan. That was all.
Yeah, and like it also depends on what it is. Like if it's I need best practices on creating state-of-the-art best practice TikTok videos targeting millennials and Gen Z. Do you need to verify that research? No, because you can use that as a foundation for training, a little minion, as I call them, to help take an idea and turn it into a video. But if you're going to use it in an annual report or a funder submission, you'll want to take more time. So a lot of it's contextual. I'm assuming you can see I'm sharing Furniture Bank's something that I've got, which I ran through just one example. So,
Dan, are you able to zoom in just a little bit for us?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
That work?
Sami has old eyes.
No, I have old eyes too.
I was nice because I was going to say, poor Tim can't ever see, and then he just threw the shots anyway. So let me be clear, it's for all the old people watching this that can't see.
But remember, Sami, not all of us can have 70-inch screens, so he can just kick back and watch.
Like exactly. I have an extra screen with my screen.
Oh my gosh.
So this blob of text is what I gave the researcher. So there is a, who are you? What are you? What are we trying to do? And, get as detailed as you want. I've seen longer ones. Add, what time, where do you want get your data? Go find these foundations. Go find the alignment with our program, what we do. Find the most promising, then analyze them, then get grants, like find application cycles, AKA go find funders that are worth our organization's time trying to connect with. Now, when Gemini works, and ChatGPT is similar, it'll take that, it'll think about it for a second, and it'll come back and it'll give you the recommended, what it intends to do. So
like these are its thinking, like it's telling you what it's thinking as it's processing. Like it's almost like talking out loud.
Yeah, but this is before it's like plunges in. So this is like,
okay.
This is what I think I heard you say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so this is structuring it down.
It's writing in its own like human in the loop feature.
Yeah. And it'll then say, if I do all this, I will analyze it, create a report, and it'll be ready in a few minutes. And I've obviously hit research, but you'll have the opportunity to edit it before you send the researcher away. But ultimately, you're going to hit start research. Yeah. Then you're going to go for a coffee or tea, whatever floats your boat.
Float your boot.
And
Float your boot.
And what will come back is this little blurb, and this is the result. I exported it. It is 26 pages in Google Sheets. You can see it all. There's tables. There's all sorts of stuff. All the references are down here.
Oh, that's awesome. Dan, when you export it, did you export it like straight to your drive, or?
Yep.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah, because that's one thing Tim and I were talking about when we were looking at the drive.
The efficacy of that, because then you could be like, not everybody on your team is curious as much. Like, there's always that person who, of course, he's going to go get the research. Let them get the research, create the doc, get it into the shared place, and then use Google Docs collaboration. I've got some new things, come in, everybody can tear it apart. You can use your team superpowers to make good use of it. You can copy it. But that's my workflow, is do the research, get it into Google Docs, and from there I can do other things with it. But here's the neat part. There is this button called Create. This is new. Oh, one thing. The deep research, you could add
your own files.
Your own files as well.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that is super cool. I mean, great. Like, duh, right? I suppose there's a little bit of duh in there, but dang.
So Google seems to, this is a Dan only. I'm watching it. They seem to be dripping in features quietly.
So sneakily.
So, well, I think they learned from the past. Don't be so loud about it. Just do it.
Oh my gosh. Yep.
So
Google, if you're listening, we still love you, but
we love. I big love Google. So this is out of the box, and you can apply this to everything that you generate. And I'll show you some of the examples. So you would hit web page, and it'll create it, an infographic, an interactive quiz, and an audio overview. So I'm just going to scroll up.
When I said at the beginning of this that Dan showed us a preview and there were expletives from Tim and I, like, this is what we're talking about.
This right here.
So this was taking the deep research that we just generated, and it auto-generated code, HTML, that looks like this. So I have the challenge, I have the ecosystem, I have the leaders, the trends, the cycles, and the outlook. I'm just going to shrink this because I suspect there were. So you can see foundations. You can see these are in here up in Canada. Different trends. Oh, and up here, oh, right. Let's start at the top instead. So this one has a button where I can get the funder details. I can generate a pitch snippet, and supposedly that'll do it. But the idea of prototyping, so most of the people on this call are not web designers. And the idea of turning an idea, a research paper, into a web page, you're like, not me. Now you are. Now you can say, please take this and adapt it into a web page or a landing page or a blog post. So a lot of it is things that we traditionally thought we couldn't do, but we're now allowed to do. You can create interactive quizzes. So I'm just going to
sorry, on that last thing, is there a preview code? Like, is that live somewhere on the interwebs?
Like, can you post it or publish it?
Yes, you can. I've been testing it this morning. So you would copy the HTML and drop it as HTML into your web page.
Cool, great, amazing.
I think it was this one. Yes. So same deep research. I asked for an infographic. And, here are the private, corporate, and public. But here's the fun one, interactive funder database. Find me corporations. I'm just going to zoom out so you can see it. So here are all the funders that probably could maybe support Furniture Bank's child sleep program. Spoiler alert, North Pine's a funder, IKEA's a funder, Peter Gilligan's a funder. I didn't tell it that. But I can say, show me that much, has an open cycle, should be a top prospect, surprise, surprise. IKEA is a national partner. but you can design it to suit what you need. So strategy, top prospects, all of those things.
Well, and Dan, in theory, you could preload who's already
Absolutely
working with you, right? And then you could be like, currently, like, so you wouldn't get a bunch of list of things like you're
100%.
already working with.
Yep.
You could get new ideas.
Okay, what people are going to be thinking as soon as you say that right there is they're going to wonder, is it safe to upload a list of people I'm working with? And here's the answer to that question. It is so important to understand that.
Thank you.
Inside of Gemini for Workspace with Google Workspace, if you upload a list of people, you are not introducing any new risk in terms of cybersecurity and data privacy. There is no new risk of doing that because these already live inside of your Google Workspace. That's the only place where this is living. So be aware of that. If you take the HTML code and you put it somewhere else, now you have put that there. So again, be aware of that. But when you're running this right here, you're inside of your data privacy policies. It's why Gemini is so important. It's so important to understand that point.
And that being said, if you don't put your donor data for whatever reason, like if you have limitations on what you allow your organization to put into Google Drive or your Google Workspace, those same rules need to apply here.
Yes.
So that's a rare scenario. If you're comfortable with Google, you're probably comfortable with lists being in there and things. But if you aren't, or your organization has barred that, that also means this infrastructure, those snippets need to be barred as well.
And then each item you can send by email, send by docs. Like Google, while there are quirks, they haven't quite stitched everything together. They're trying to make interoperability between the different Google apps work. You can create an interactive quiz. It'll just create a 10-question quiz. I'm just guessing here. And if you go all the way to the end, I'm just going to go next. It'll score it.
Whoa.
That's really cool.
You don't seem to be able to do anything with it. Like it's not movable.
It's not connected to anything. It's not storing the data.
I bet the next move though is to connect that to a Google form. Like auto turn it into a Google form.
Now I want to play with that. Yes, because it is actually possible there. The other tools I've used for that, you have to actually build in a back end and an authenticator and all that kind of stuff. So this is really interesting, Dan. Super interesting.
And then the other thing you can do is, who wants to read a 26-page document, you can actually say generate an audio overview, and it will, based on the content, it will generate an audio piece. Am I sharing? If I hit play, will that play?
Yeah.
About something incredibly fundamental, yet surprisingly tricky to fund. A bed for a child.
Yeah, you hear bed poverty and it might sound a bit abstract.
Exactly. Is that really a thing?
Yeah.
But it is. It's a real issue right here in the GTA.
So that was, I'm assuming you could hear it, a 6-minute overview of the deep research. I've done some, it was 20. So you don't have a lot of control of this. The same features available over in Notebook LM. But the way we're looking at using it is, a little audio overview that you can put at the top of your website. I'm dealing with a funder right now. We filled in their long application. They clearly haven't read it. So we really need to create the brevity version so that they can, without knowing, see the website, hear the audio clip, and really understand what we're trying to do so that they can get into it.
Gosh, this is just so good, Dan.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Amazing. We can do more. Like OpenAI has similar things. It has Canvas, it has connections, you can connect things, but a lot of it is starting with like, what's the biggest, itchiest question you've never been able to get answered, personal or professional? And try it. And Gemini is really good.
Try it.
Yeah, try it. Gemini is actually quite good at if you ask it to refine your prompt before you even give it to deep research.
If anybody listening is wondering how to do any of what we've just said, please, I'm begging you, please reach out.
Yes.
and ask us that either here in the comments. You can DM us. We're fanatical about trying to get people to understand what is available to them inside of tools they're already paying for. And so like that's one of the reasons we're out here doing this. So we want to help you with that. Just let us know. Carlos, you've got a great question.
Yeah.
The answer to it is there is no impact on your data privacy policy with your scenario. If that doesn't make sense, and it's not making sense to a lot of people, that's something we want to take the time to explore. So we'll probably come back to that next week, but that's the kind of question people are afraid to ask. Carlos, thank you so much for asking it in public, because we need people to ask the question. So anyway, last question to you, Dan.
I just want to say it right now. I'm just going to say your June 18th episode, where I won't actually be here. We'll find a guest to come on with you, but let's just make that a security episode.
Yeah, I love it. We'll see if Jennifer Owens can come, because she has looked at all of this stuff and she's written the best AI policy I've seen. Dan, if someone wanted to learn this, they're like, I'm barely prompting AI. If you gave them X number of hours, you could have a report that's similar to the one I made. How many hours is that? Assuming like the usual learning time and like discomfort of all of that. How many hours are we talking? Or days?
Of personal, like to go
personal time.
Out, 5 minutes.
Okay.
Because it's start at Gemini, not deep research.
Yeah, right.
And say, I want to experiment with Gemini deep research.
Now we are talking people that have never done this before, right?
Like hit the Gemini button, first chat. This is what I'm doing. I care about whatever. Help me make this a better deep research, and explicitly say, I really want to understand the capabilities of Gemini deep research. It'll give you a blob, and then you will start a new chat, hit deep research, paste it, go for
and if you are underestimating that by 10 times, if it will take you 10 times longer, that's still less than an hour.
Yeah.
Like people don't realize this is right there. This is like literally one type in the search bar and be using this away.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Whereas in OpenAI, which most of us are familiar with, it's $200 a month.
Yes.
No, you do get six rolls of the can.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I used those 6 on like one.
That's still really important to know. Like that is a fine way to learn. If you're already in there and you're more comfortable, fine, go there. But when it comes to this work and data privacy, and if you're already paying for the tools, it's worth the extra minute to go and just like try a different swimming pool. Like the water is the same.
I've got to pull us. One, I do want to point out that my obnoxious reaction a minute ago was because there is this fake owl up there and I didn't realize it was fake. And it actually scared the bejesus out of me because it's pointed down. So I need to at least clarify why I obnoxiously reacted.
Oh my gosh.
But also we are already over time, and I do know we've got an upskillerator to get to.
Okay.
And Tim's got...
Do not be sorry. This is amazing, Dan.
Caroline, yes, I'm taking what we've done today. I'm creating a blog post. I'll put the prompts on there, and I'll share that with Tim and Sami.
Yeah, and Dan, you can just, if you want, so people can connect with you on LinkedIn as well.
Oh, yeah.
Share it right in the live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like share as a comment.
We'll make a blog post with it. We'll share that out. And anybody that wants to reach out to Dan directly, please do. He's great to follow.
He's also in the upskillerator with us.
Yeah, right.
Which we'll talk about here in just a second. We're not saying bye to Dan just yet. I'm going to switch scenes here, and it's going to play a video. And Tim's very proud of this.
I am very proud of this.
Oh, where did it go?
I don't know.
Well.
No, just click on video. Like it's fine.
I'm doing it.
Oh, you got it?
Do it because it's not on mine.
Okay, good.
So Dan and I actually met same way Tim and I did in the upskillerator group. So we've got a group of upskillers. We meet weekly for the upskillerator. It's immediately following this. If you scan the QR code.
This is Steve. Learning AI on his own has made him unhappy. He joined the upskillerator, a badass AI crew that upskills on AI together. Now Steve is happy. If you're tired of lone wolfing AI, click the thingy and join the baddest AI gang on the AI way. And when I say baddest, I actually mean goodest. Because for reasons that make no sense, the best way to say goodest is baddest. Anyways, you should join the Upskillerator by the Human Stack.
I can't. So anyway, that's the Upskillerator.
I used 8 different AI tools to put that together. A lot of it was Descript, and the VP of product from Descript reached out and was like, how can I help with the Upskillerator? So we're going to try and get the VP of product to come to the Upskillerator. And if we're lucky, she might come early and like hop on here as well. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. But yeah, the Upskillerator, if you're tired of learning AI on your own, you want to join a group, like this is it. This is a great group, really fun to work 100%. With.
So. And we're going to be on in about 5 minutes. So you're welcome to join us today even.
Yeah.
Scan the QR code and hop on over. Dan, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
It is always a pleasure to have you. And we're so grateful for your partnership. And yeah, we'll see you in about 5 more minutes.
Thank you. See
you. We'll talk to you later. All right, everybody. That is it for today's episode. Next week, we have episode 9 of season 1 already. Make sure you guys shout out some love for Dan in the comments wherever you're watching. YouTube, LinkedIn. I think we're chopping some of this up and putting it on TikTok. Like we'll get everywhere. But show some love to Dan Kershaw and Furniture Bank in Canada. Definitely make as much Canadian jokes as you can toward him. That would be great. And then next week, we will be back for Data Dynamo, where we will talk about Google Sheets. We've got a little bit of learning to do because they just released an update to the Google Sheet, like Gemini and Google Sheets, like a couple weeks ago. So that was why I was like, you know what, we're gonna do Google Sheets.
Next week. Good. That's a good idea. Yep.
So grateful to see you all. Grateful to have you all. Tim.
Thank you for those of you that are hopping in, leaving comments. You have no idea how happy that makes us.
Yes.
So thank you. And thanks for coming back every week. Really appreciate it. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Absolutely.